What's up, Dragon Brood? So today we are jumping back on the GRUUL train because, it's fun. Anyway, I decided I was going to do an update to my, I guess we'll call it tournament winning thing. I don't know. How do we even classify that when the MTGA Open things happen? Like, you won money, but you didn't really win because there's like 120 winners. So, like, I don't know. Or maybe we're all winners. Like, I have no idea. Anyway, tell me what you think is the best way to classify that. But anyway, I took that deck, only did some minor changes. We swapped out a couple of cards from the main deck, made some adjustments to account for some of the extra sacrifice lists going around, adjusted the sideboard a little bit, and we're going to see if that's enough to hold up in best of 3. So, as promised, we did some best of 1 in the early part of the week. We're going to do best of 3 to finish off the week. And we'll see how it goes. This is kind of a new plan, and hopefully people respond to it, and we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's hop into playing some Magic, and we will have the deck list at the end of the video and in the description down below. Well, I was going to say, let's see what type of hand we have. There we go. This is a definite keeper. This one's easy. So obviously we're going to open a Pelt Collector here into a Robber of the Rich. I say obviously. I mean, it's possible we could draw... Well, I don't know. With the opponent playing Knight of the Ebon Legion, we may actually just kill that with a Bonecrusher Giant. Okay, well, that was a weird game 1. I'm assuming that means they kept a 1-land hand, and that was not good for them. So I'm going to assume with what we saw, they're either playing mono black aggro, most likely, or some type of Knights deck. So if that's the case, we're going to bring in this extra Dragonfire and the extra Ambush, because that makes sense. Unfortunately, we don't know what type of Knights deck they're playing. It could be Black-White, it could be Mardu. So I don't really know how good the Flame Sweep or the Red Cap Melee are. So we can't really lean on that too much, unfortunately. So I'm going to go with 1 less Ceratops, 1 less Clothis, and see if that's correct. Keeping Gem Razor, because Gem Razor can be a 4/4, and sometimes that's enough. But there's also times like just having something that tramples can be a little bit of a breaker in the field. Though now that I'm looking at this list, I probably should have another Embercleave in here, and I'd probably rather have that over that extra Scorching Dragonfire, which means I'm going to have to find room in the sideboard at the end of the video. Okay, this is fine. We still need more land, a significant amount more, but this is okay. Opponent didn't have a turn 1 creature, so that's excellent. Have to assume they have a turn 2, right? Okay, so it is mono black, as we suspected. So let's go ahead and get rid of this Gem Razor, because we're going to be doing stuff with all these other cards. In the meantime, we're likely going to be discarding Questing Beast coming up. I say that, actually. Maybe we discard Embercleave? I don't really know. Oh, interesting. The opponent's willing to block there. Wonder if they have some type of sweeper in their hand. That makes me a little suspicious. Oh, just a figure. Alright, that's not so bad. That could have been lots worse. Going with this just so we can get the bigger Pelt Collectors in case they do have Cry of the Carnarium or something of that nature. We get 2 creatures that are out of range. Nope, there's a Murderous Rider. Okay then. Alright deck, we need to start finding land pretty quick, or this is going to get very, very unfortunate for us. Alright, we're going to go ahead and kill the Foulmire Knight so we can have our Zertog Goblin face off against their Knight, hopefully next turn. And we have a possibility of playing Pelt Collector followed by Robber of the Rich, since we already have a red and a green land out. Oh, that's not fun. Okay, cool. They at least tapped out for a second for us. Oh, what do we do here? I mean, if we trade, we're kind of incentivized just to kill the Knight of the Ebon Legion, right? See if the opponent double blocks. I mean, because unfortunately, if they get to keep the Murderous Rider, that's going to be more life for them, which is going to get kind of annoying. But I feel like with them being low on cards, I think we're better off racing them if they choose to race. If they even choose to. I don't know. They may not. Then we can, worst case scenario, set up some Pelt Collectors that are going to end up with a Bone Crusher Giant, making them big enough. So let's go ahead and stack them like that. I think in the grand scheme of things, the life link isn't as bad as them being able to just perpetually block a creature. Well, they're going to be able to do that anyway, as it turns out. Go figure. Okay. Fair enough. We're going to have to Embercleave our way in at some point. Such is life. Alright, definitely don't want that. Knowing what's on top, we're just going to play another Pelt Collector. We'll take some damage this coming turn, and then play either the Robber of the Rich or the Bone Crusher Giant. I mean, if we get lucky, we could Questing Beast and then get the attacks in, but we'll see. Alright, so the opponent's not doing anything there. Let's see. Then I guess we have to maximize our potential to get 4 power things into play. This is where we're heading. We do have to be careful with the opponent having spot removal, though, unfortunately. So we're not going to be able to Embercleave kind of recklessly. Alright, well played, opponent. Well played. Oh, man. Wipe, I was going to say, wipe creatures and then let me... Oh, land, please. Come on. There we go. Now we're starting to make some things happen. Okay, depending on what the opponent draws here, we could potentially Embercleave our way into a win, even after all this mess. Sure, Thin Lurker. Great. We'll get rid of this Robber of the Rich. Can they only play stuff at sorcery speed? If you cast a spell this way, it equals a converted mana cost. Okay, so that doesn't really do anything. It's just whenever they could normally cast things. That makes sense. So, I think, I mean, unless they have like a, I don't know, Heartless Act on top, we should be able to win with the Questing Beast. Because the only thing that can block it is a Woe Strider. If we put the Embercleave on it, we're going to walk right over that with the Trample Damage and Death Touch. I mean, the opponent could draw cards, though, with the Woe Strider to put different things on top, but they only have 4 life, so I'm not sure what they're looking for. Alright, well, we'll get rid of this. I mean, they could scry something to the top for 1 mana, I guess. But they don't have any mana to gain life with Timuret. I mean, they could attack if they feel they need 2 life, though. That is a real thing they could do. Or even kill a creature. Well, okay, not anymore. Just double checking to make sure with like 1 life there's nothing that can happen here. I mean, we can attack with just the Questing Beast if we want to. Because we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's all we really need for the Embercleave. So sure. Alright, let's see if they've got anything. I mean, if they've got something for 1 mana, I can't think of what it would be, so. Alright, they're saying the good game. Oh boy, what do we do with this opener? Sadly, I think against an unknown opponent, and the opponent going first, we have to keep this. Because there is a chance that we draw, like, a mountain or stomping ground that kind of changes our plays. Otherwise, we're going to just play the castle first, so we have access to 2 mana. Still doesn't change anything. I think we still want to be able to go bigger here. Otherwise, on turn 2, we would still just have just the Pelt Collector, and that's not really where we want to be. Alright, we're going to go a little bit bigger in case the opponent just outright drops a Mayhem Devil or something here. This also allows us to possibly Gem Razor our way to destroying the Witch's Oven. Fantastic. And then wind up with a 5/5, which we like. And because it'll have a counter, it'll be somewhat protected from Heartless Act, which is also important. You know what's funny? I was pointing this out on stream. These sleeves that look like the they're the Year of the Rat sleeves, but for some reason when they're at a distance, they look like some type of little dachshund with like the little fancy French artist hat. I know that's dumb, but it's a thing I see. What can I say? Okay, now I'm kind of hoping for a red land here, so we can start doing multiple things. Wolf Rider's pretty nice. Maybe we can coax the opponent into blocking, thinking they're going to kill our Gem Razor. Oh, they have the Witch's Oven. Interesting. Okay, well, this is unfortunate, because I kind of want to play this first, but I don't think we can. I think our plan here is just attack. I mean, opponent can choose not to block. I am okay with this. This puts them all the way down to 8. Yeah, see, this is tough now because if we try to play the Giant's going to end up unusable, effectively. They obviously didn't block with the Roast Rider because they have a plan in their head to be able to kill the Gem Razor, I'm pretty sure. So, effectively, we're trading the Giant here in exchange for protecting the Gem Razor going forward. It's definitely not the preferred option, but it is what it is. So the good news is this does clear the board a little bit. They can still sacrifice a creature. They can use the food to kill off the Pelt Collector, which is fine. But it's stuff not aimed at our face right now. If we do get a red land that's untapped, we can get double robbers in. And then that puts the opponent at least in a little bit of a quandary to decide what to deal with. Oh gosh, that's why. They had another Woe Strider. That kind of makes sense. Saving to block? Nope, they're going to attack. So now if we get a red land, we could almost just win here, right? Well, it's not really what we were looking for, but it's cute. I mean, the question is, how badly do we just want to Dragonfire a Mayhem Devil? The answer might be pretty badly. This is tough, because I kind of want to play the Robber of the Rich. We know they can get one thing. I could also -2/-2 our Gem Razor, which would be kind of annoying. But I think we're just going to go with it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so if they choose to block, they can sacrifice it to the oven. But how do they get 2 more damage on our Gem Razor? Because if they sacrifice the Woe Strider to the oven, they won't be able to sacrifice the Mayhem Devil for a point. If they sacrifice the Mayhem Devil, then the Woe Strider's sitting there without a way. Alright, so let's do this. Just force their action. Alright, so they didn't have it. Okay. We should be mostly fine here then. Because I need, what, 4 cards extra in the yard? Yeah. Oh, they did find another Mayhem Devil. Alright. Well, you have an oven plus food, so it's not over yet. Oh, might be now, though. I mean, they can sack food, go to 8. They can block a robber, take 7. Okay, so they're opting to go to 8, sack, block the Gem Razor. Oh, they didn't even target the Gem Razor. Oh, weird. I thought, well, I guess if they sacked, they wouldn't have dealt the 3 to the Razor, though. Yeah, that was actually just a bad block. They'd have been better off just blocking the Robber of the Rich and being at 1, because the difference between 1 and 2 isn't much different for their deck. Huh. That did not go the way I anticipated it going. Okay, anyway. Let's bring in Scorching Dragonfire, Grafdigger's Cage, Ambush, Flame Sweeps. Maybe Gem Razor? It's possible we could use Red Cap melees, but between the Dragonfires, Flame Sweeps, Bone Crusher Giants, I'm going to hope that's enough. I don't hate Ceratops, but I don't love it in this fight, so we're going to cut those. We're on the draw, so I'm going to cut 2 Robber of the Rich. Plus, there's a good chance we're going to end up just playing burn spells and stuff early anyway to deal with some of their things. Clothis is okay. Not good, not bad. Problem is it still leaves 3 cards that I don't know what to do with. And this is like a weird spot, because if we take out the Embercleaves, they could be one of the best things for us beating these decks. But at the same time, if we don't kill them on the attack step, the ones that are bringing in the extra, whatever, 3 mana steal your creature things, that could be a problem. But I think that's the plan, though. I think they're going to be bringing in stuff to try to steal creatures, go bigger and kill creatures. Probably even bringing in, realistically, red cap melees that are pretty good against our stuff. So we just have to keep that in mind, too. I think I'm just going to rock 61 and see what happens. This kind of works. Yeah, we'll keep this. I mean, it sucks that they can steal our Spellbreaker, potentially, but that's fine. If they don't play Mayhem Devil early, and they just play, like, I don't know, let's say Cat and Priest of Forgotten Gods or whatever, then the Flame Sweep's pretty dang good. So, right now, I don't think we even really want to worry about playing this Dragonfire yet. I'll just let them use the Goose, because they use the Goose to just get a Mayhem Devil. We can just get rid of the Mayhem Devil. Alright, there's a cat, sure. Interesting, they didn't even use the goose to make anything. Huh. So why are we sitting on mana, opponent? I feel like there's a story here and I don't know the narrative. It's one of the tough things is, you know, not just knowing what your opponent's doing, but trying to understand why they're doing it. Like here, I may end up having to just use Flame Sweep anyway, because they might just be trying to save up and play their big, whatever the dragon is thing here. Which I might have made a mistake, but we'll see. Okay, so it's Woe Strider, not a dragon. Alright, so this is going to be a pretty prime spot for Flame Sweep, especially since we can follow up with Questing Beast next turn. Granted, that does leave the opponent 4 cards in the graveyard after using their Fabled Passage, but that's fine. One of them's a cat that they don't want to get rid of anyway. Alright, they left something on top. Don't know what it is, but I'm sure we'll find out. Okay, so this is pretty good. If we get one more land, even if they get rid of Questing Beast, we'll have Spellbreakers plus damage. Or even just double Dragonfires plus Giant keeps the path clear if we want it to. And again, this is keeping us out of range of things that they can use with Claim the Firstborn. Like, if we do play Bone Crusher, at least they take some damage for it, you know? Oh boy. Alright, so we maybe have to play the silly game where we try to catch them with a cat in play so we can remove a cat. Or just draw a Gem Razor. Gem Razor doesn't really help greatly here, though. I mean, I say that. I guess it does. I mean, it destroys the oven. So, I mean, we still got to do that. Problem is, if they have, like, a Noxious Grasp, we lose 2 for here, which is a little disappointing. I'm going to go ahead and put it over in case we draw another Questing Beast here. Alright. Now they can get a Woe Strider next turn if they choose to. So this is where we want to start drawing mana. This is where it gets important. Oh, actually, I guess they need another one because that was a cat in there. I mean, I guess their hand is low enough they could try to draw one time. If they really want to. I mean, if you attack, I'll block opponent, and you can put a cat in there. Get your Woe Strider back. Dragonfire and... Oh, just to get the Woe Strider? Yeah, sure, I'll take 2. You're not sneaking that in on me, opponent. Oh, so they need it next turn. They don't even have the option to this turn. Well, the intriguing thing here... you know, we might leave that up. Is that... we know they only have Woe Strider access. So we can play the Spellbreakers now kind of indiscriminately and not care. And I'm only going to keep it as a 3/3. So if they do decide to steal it, we can block it if we have to. Assuming they top deck what's necessary. So now the opponent doesn't know it, but we effectively have the win next turn. Because we could play a Spellbreaker and get rid of one of these, potentially. Well, it comes in with 2 counters, so it'd be a 4-2, or a 5-2. 5-4, sorry. So I would have to spend multiple resources. So technically, not a win if the opponent decides to stay back to block a Spellbreaker. Okay, and they had another cat. Great. Alright, so I guess it kind of makes sense we ended up having that Pelt Collector after all. Because we're going to have to spend 2 resources on the Woe Strider. So what I'll do is I will maximize what we're going to do. So deal 3, so when it dies, it'll be exiled. And then we're just going to use this to shoot it for the difference. Let them sack whatever they want to sack here. Feel pretty good about this now, though. The opponent's going to end up so low here that even just 2 trampling Spellbreakers might be enough. And they could trade all 3 cats for a Spellbreaker and then get a cat back. We're okay with that. 2/2 Pelt Collector, that'll be 3/3 next turn, at a minimum. Because they already know we have a Bone Crusher Giant. Yep, that should do it. Great. I don't know why they even leave that in against GRUUL. That's actually pretty bad for them. Because if you're winning against GRUUL, I would think, then the Bola Citadel doesn't even matter. Okay. Well, that's it. Well, I have to admit, those games went a lot faster than anticipated, really. I didn't think the matches would be that clean. I'm not sure. I feel like I got a little bit lucky against the Sacrifice deck, but we do have a lot of removal cards that make their life a little bit difficult. I also, like I said, if you heard my commentary there, but I was trying to play around any possibility of them having Claim the Firstborn as well. So let's take a look. This is what the deck list looks like now. 4 Pelt Collector, 4 Robber of the Rich, 3 Scorching Dragonfire, 4 Zertog Goblin, Bone Crusher Giant, Spellbreaker, 2 Clothis, 3 Gem Razor, 3 Questing Beast, 3 Ceratops, 2 Embercleaves, 1 Castle Embereth, almost said 1 Castle Embercleave, that would be awesome, 6 Mountain, 10 Forest, 4 Swamp, 3 Temple of Abandon. So this is all very similar to what we played in the Arena Open. Made some adjustments. I don't have any more of the main deck Domri's Ambush. Those are now gone. And I have one, I believe, moved to the sideboard. We'll take a look at that in a second. And adjusted up the number of Scorching Dragonfires to compensate for some of the sacrifice lists. Still playing for Bone Crusher Giants. So this is all it gives us a decent chance against that deck. Same thing with Colossus. It's not great in that fight, but if you can catch a weird turn where they have a cat in the graveyard, or you're able to catch a Woe Strider, that goes a long way toward you turning the game around. And that life exchange is actually pretty good because it lets you stay kind of ahead of a cat oven situation, where they're dealing 2, gaining 2, you're dealing 2, gaining 2, and keeps it at parity while you're trying to get the rest of the board set up. I wouldn't mind having a 3rd Embercleave. And right now, I would say if you're running into a field that has a ton of cat oven stuff or different sacrifice lists, I would probably cut 1 Ceratops for the Embercleave. I know that people question that because you say why whenever a Ceratops can get trample and it's one of the things, but the reality is it's also you have to get to 5 mana and specifically 3 green mana of that 5 to be able to get that advantage. And it's nice, but you really need to be getting other things done. And sometimes if you just hit an Embercleave on even like something like a GRUUL Spellbreaker, that's just enough sometimes against them. So in those matchups, great. If you're still playing against a lot of different decks, a lot of mid-range decks, maybe even playing against a bunch of mono red, that type of stuff, Embercleave's not going to be so good. It's just too slow, and it's not the card you're looking for in those matchups, because your way to win the red matchups is really just make your creatures bigger. You want to outsize them. Sideboard, we're going 3 Red Cap Melee, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Scorching Dragonfire, 3 Cindervines, 1 Domri's Ambush, 3 Flame Sweep, 1 Gem Razor, 1 Shifting Ceratops. If I had to say anything, if we moved that extra Ceratops in the main to the sideboard, I would probably just cut the Domri's Ambush. And then that way you still have access to 4 Ceratops. It can still do everything else your sideboard wants to do. Also, generally speaking, a lot of times the matchups you're going to bring in, the Red Cap Melees or the Scorching Dragonfires, are going to be some of the same matchups you would bring Domri's Ambush in anyway. It's just kind of like one more thing you can have. So, my apologies for the short video today. The games were super fast. I was expecting to play best of three matches, and that would be 6 games, but this kind of keeps it in a reasonable, watchable stretch. I hope the commentary was good, so it helped you out kind of understanding why I'm sideboarding what I am, and kind of how we play through the post-sideboard games and what we're worried about. This is something I'm trying that's new. Like I said, we want to try to do maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something new, and Thursday, Friday being best of 3, usually some version of something we played on the first 3 days. So if you like that, let me know down in the comments below. If you have some other ideas for formatting or some other things you want to see, I'm also interested in knowing that. And remember to like this video, pretty please. It'd be really nice. And subscribe to the channel. That's really important. And remember to hit that notification bell if you can. And yeah, I wanted to say thanks to everybody. It's been awesome. We're growing amazingly. We went from clearing 1,000 to already being at over 1,500. We're almost at 1,600. You probably will be by the time you're watching this video. So we're just really taking off, and I'm super thankful to everybody for the support you've been giving me, and for everybody that's come by the Twitch channel. That's been awesome. That's been growing. So yeah, things are coming along great. And I didn't forget about the 1,000 sub video. We're probably gonna hit 2,000 before it's done, but I am gonna get on that, and there will be a prize. I promise you, I did not forget. That is coming. Part of it is I have a giant mess in here, and part of the video was I wanted to film my setup, and I got to get that cleaned up first. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. We will see you next time.